Hello and welcome to this special conversation on the squirrels.in. Right through the last few weeks, we've been giving you insights about what's most likely to happen in the big battleground state of Bihar. The Congress party is conducting its own working committee meeting today in Patna as we speak. Murmurs are now slowly becoming into a crescendo about is there a plan for Badlao? Is there a mahal for Badlao in the state of Bihar or not? With me, Amitabh Tiwari, founder of votevibe.com, who's now also brought out what I think is arguably a very fine psephological and political analytical tool. Through Ascend India, Mr. Tiwari has brought in a complete booklet of sorts, which gives you a very clear picture of what you should be looking out for and what is most likely to happen. Well, great pleasure for us to be welcoming you here today, Amitabh, as always. So let me first begin by asking you, we've done 3 or 4 sessions with you on the basis of what you were sensing on the ground from Vote Vibe. Between this new experiment at Vote Vibe, what's the difference there between the two, if any?
Sir, in Vote Vibe, we are doing quantitative survey. That means that we dial up thousands of people, record their responses, and then present the findings in percentage form. It's called quantitative analysis. In Ascendia Strategies India, which is a political consulting and strategy firm, what we have done is a qualitative report. Just like you or any senior journalist goes on the ground, meets a few people, senses what is going on, asks a few questions, and then prepares a report. So it's called a qualitative report. The number of people we have interviewed in this is far lesser. It's in 10 days, we would have interviewed around 100 people, but we have also done a lot of social listening. So we meet influencers, leaders, journalists, media, Samaj Sevi, leaders, etc., very caste community leaders, and then form an opinion through social listening as to
So,
what is really happening.
having gone through this report, Amitabh, it seems that this report is very much in consonance with what your findings were earlier when we were doing interviews with you on Vote5 platform. Because Bihar is a caste-driven society is an open secret. Are you getting any feedback from the ground that, if anything, caste consolidations around their preferred standing groups, their conventional groups, is that caste consolidation now becoming even greater?
Yeah, of course. I mean, most of the vote banks of both the NDA and the Mahagathbandhan are very sticky. So, in terms of caste preferences of major anchor voting segments of these groups, they largely remain fixed, except for few things here and there. Because what people are waiting for is also the candidate announcement by the respective parties. Because the candidates, when they are announced from Mahagathbandhan, NDA, or Jan Suraj, they would then seal the caste arithmetic of that particular seat. While Muslims Yadavs largely are favoring the Mahagathbandhan, and the upper caste Kurmi Koiri, Mahadalits EBCs largely favoring the NDA. There are sections within EBCs like Kushwahas who would vote for their candidate, whoever the candidate is, whether Mahagathbandhan or NDA. Even amongst Mahadalits, there is a section of voters, educated, let's say, educated and literate voters, who or with whom this constitution change, vote chori, etc., is resonating. But they are also largely waiting whether Mahagathbandhan gives them proper representation in the ticket distribution or not.
So, Amitabh, you tell me, the headline in today's newspapers is that the Election Commission is now adding another feature in order to ensure that the allegations which are being leveled by the Congress party do not end up becoming a reality. But Rahul Gandhi is looking at it as a huge victory of sorts for himself. What I want to understand is that in course of your travels, are you seeing at a very base level realization that there could be something wrong with the electoral system in our country?
So this is where the you can say the conflict with the quantitative data arises. Because in our quantitative surveys at VoteVibe, the last tracker, 21% people said that vote chori or SIR will be the topmost election issue, which ranked as the second topmost election issue. Of course, there will be a recency bias because the survey just followed the Yatra. But on the ground, on a qualitative basis, It seems, I found that the SIR or vote chori was not an issue. Correct. So it was not an issue, rather bread and butter issues like unemployment, corruption. Corruption is a big issue, high level, local level corruption. SIR vote chori was not a very big factor, sensed on the ground at least.
But in this analysis that you have done to Ascend India, uh, uh, on specifically on the question of corruption, is there dissatisfaction which is being captured here?
There is dissatisfaction even amongst the core voters of NDA on low level corruption. They a lot of people say अफसरशाही बहुत हावी है, बिना पैसे के कुछ काम नहीं होता local government level पे. But again, see, Bihar today is a highly divided society, highly divided amongst two blocks, NDA, Mahagathbandhan, and then there is a third block. So in the end, whatever question you ask, people tend to answer that on the basis of their political affiliation. So let's say the core vote block of anyways Muslims, Yadavs, and other sections of people who are backing the Mahagathbandhan are saying that corruption will be a big issue, and they would vote or try to vote out the government on that issue. They also bring up the CAG thing also, the 70,000 crore allegation by the CAG. However, when you ask this question to the core voters of NDA, which is upper caste, EBCs and Kurmis, Koiris, they say that it's fine because if the Mahagathbandhan comes back to power, there will be higher level of corruption, or we've seen much higher level of corruption in Mahagathbandhan or RJD days. So this fear factor still seems to be the distinguishing factor for many voters who have seen the alleged Jungle Raj and perhaps are comparing whatever is happening in Nitish tenure, whether be it law and order or corruption, to the earlier terms of Lalu of 15 years.
Okay. What about Nitish Kumar? You know, the videos, the images of Nitish Kumar, Amitabh, not being completely comprehensive, and many people saying that Nitish Kumar is now age is getting the better of him. Some feel he's not well, and while we wish him good health, is there a sense which exists on the ground, and Nitish Kumar has been there now on the hot seat for far too long, and maybe time for him to make way for someone else?
So there is a divided opinion on this. Mostly the core vote blocks of Nitish Kumar, people who are beneficiaries of state government schemes, women, EBCs, are still fans of Nitish Kumar because they feel that he is the person who has brought out a positive aspect or development in their lives. Some BJP supporters do feel that it is time for installing a BJP CM, just like Maharashtra, and why BJP is going with Nitish as a CM face when they have many MLAs or higher number of MLAs and even a higher representation in the cabinet. Some Nitish supporters do now feel that it is time to hand over the mantle to young leadership.
Is there a conflict? What I'm trying to understand is, we often speak about conflict on kaun banega Mukhyamantri on the Mahagathbandhan side. Rahul Gandhi was asked this question. DK Shiv Kumar was asked this question yesterday. Within the Lalu family, there is an all-out family war between Tej Pratap and Tejasvi. But on the NDA side, is that conflict real? Is there real conversation which is taking place on the ground? Kaun banega Mukhyamantri?
Yeah, I think there are three aspects to conflict within the NDA or Mahagathbandhan. So one is on the CM level, the second is the seat distribution, and the third is at the campaign level. So what I saw and what you are asking is very pertinent is that the CM level conflict exists on both sides. The seat distribution conflict exists on both sides. However, for the time being, it seems that at the campaign level, the NDA is more coherent. There is one template of a poster which has Nitish Kumar on the left and Modi on the right, with a slogan, Rozgar ki Bahar NDA Sarkar. Different slogans, but NDA Sarkar, whether it is put up by JDU or BJP. So there is one coherent message. But in Mahagathbandhan, across the state, you will not find a poster which says some slogan on Mahagathbandhan Sarkar. There are big hoardings about Tejasvi Sarkar. Correct. So CM level issues at both places. But in terms of campaign, I think NDA's campaign is more coherent than the Mahagathbandhan.
I've not seen in both your surveys so far, whether it was Vote Vibe or Ascend India, Amitabh, the Lalu family soap opera. How is that playing out? Sometimes I wonder now. Rohini, Lalu's daughter, who gave him his kidney, is also now on a different path now. Tej Pratap has been sort of ousted from the family. Tejasvi's links with Sanjay Yadav, who's come from Haryana, have become a subject of big memes. Are these conversations taking place even within the core community of Yadav supporters of the RJD?
I think this Rohini Acharya thing had not happened when we were there, but amongst the core supporters of Mahagathbandhan, there is a discussion about the importance, or let's say inappropriate importance, which Sanjay Yadav has over or
Tejasvi.
in the core team of Tejasvi Yadav. It seems that people do get blocked at his side when they try to meet or discuss something with Tejasvi. So these things are being discussed. I'm not sure how much it will make an impact, because unless Lalu comes out and says anything against Tejasvi, because Lalu has announced that Tejasvi is the higher, his political here. So we have to wait and see how this folds out, and perhaps this is a good question to ask in the next quantitative survey at
Well, the reason why I was asking this question is because this is so much reminiscent of UP polls in 2012 when Akhilesh Yadav was his rising star. Of course, Tejasvi has been in power, has been sort of a deputy chief minister in the past, or a minister when Nitish Kumar was a chief minister. Akhilesh Yadav had to fight a no holds barred battle with Shivpal Yadav on one side, with Amar Singh on the other, and a whole range of entrenched Samajwadi Party supporters, relatives, family members of Mulayam Singh Yadav. And the result was the Samajwadi Party was out of power. So I'm trying to understand here whether this family war, which is there within the RJD, which Prashant Kishor consistently refers to, is it becoming a subject of a campaign point for the NDA?
at least at that point of time, because I was there from 30th of August to around 10th of September. At that point of time things had not boiled or reached to such a point, because this Bihar Adhikar Yatra and this Rohini Acharya episode have also happened recently, when Sanjay Yadav was sitting on the chair which Tejasvi Yadav is supposed to sit during the yatra, and that flared those conversations. So I think in the next trip, or when we ask, or when we conduct the survey at VoteWide, perhaps this is a pertinent question to ask.
Here's the other point which I found quite intriguing in your analysis, in your quantitative analysis, the latest one, Amitabh, which you've done now with this in India, is that your argument that if the Mahagathbandhan was to think in terms of giving greater representation to the Mahadalits, who over the last few years have chosen to be with the NDA, it could end up fracturing the support base of this community, which the NDA boasts of. You know, it's very much like a contradictory or a conflicted vote base of Samajwadi Party and the BSP coming together, say, in the state of Uttar Pradesh. If the Mahagathbandhan or the RJD, if they decide to give more tickets, more representations to the Mahadalits, what does it do to their entrenched conventional vote bases then, vote banks?
What happens is that actually today, all the SC communities are classified as Mahadalits. Earlier, only the Paswans were out of the Mahadalits category, and everybody else was considered as a Mahadalit. So there are three big caste groups in Dalits or Mahadalits. Paswans 5% we talk a lot about, but there is also a Chamar group, Chamar Samaj, which is 5%, and Manjhi Samaj, which is 3%. So this Chamar Samaj is, even in Bihar, votes for BSP a lot. BSP has a good presence in areas bordering the eastern UP, like the Bhojpur, the Saran, etc., and even the Magad. The Now, these two voters, again, like Jatavs and non-Jatavs, are in Bihar. Paswans and the Chamar Samaj do share a, not a very, you can say, friendly relationship. They share they are antagonistic vote blocks. So to exploit that, Congress has already made Rajesh Ram the president of the state unit. Now there is a buzz, if he is announced as the deputy CM face, and Mahagathbandhan, just like Akhilesh did, gives a lot of tickets to EBCs, Kushwahas, etc. Here also we talked about Kushwaha and Mahadalits, then some voters could shift from here to there, because in Bihar it is all about representation. People talk about representation of their community in ticket distribution, in cabinet, in key positions, because it's all about that. People feel that if they elect leaders from their own caste, or if their own caste leaders occupy bigger roles in cabinet, then they would protect the interests of the community, and they would also.
Well, a logical follow-up question, Amitabh, then would be that in the 2024 Lok Sabha elections, when Rahul Gandhi was moving around with a constitution book, with that red constitution book, right? The feeling was that Rahul Gandhi has become the preferred leader of the Dalits, the Mahadalits, the backwards. Does that sentiment, that sort of framing of Rahul Gandhi and his political narrative, are you getting any feedback from the ground that it's still very much at play there in Bihar?
No, he has not become. He is trying to become the leader of
Yeah.
Dalit, Mahadalits backwards. And
Is there traction? What I'm trying to understand is there
yeah,
traction around Rahul Gandhi in these communities?
there is because the results itself show. Because if you recall, in 2019, the result in Lok Sabha was 39-1 in favor of NDA. In 2024, the result was 30 NDA, 9 Mahagathbandhan, and 1 Pappu Yadav independent. So he has also joined Mahagathbandhan. So it becomes 30-10. So there was traction. A lot of people who have won on Mahagathbandhan tickets. I was just looking at the cast of those guys today. Are belong actually to the Kushwaha community, which shifted, which was largely today in Bihar. Kushwahas, Yadavs, Muslims are considered as communities who will back their own candidates irrespective of whichever party fields them.
Right. Okay. So final question then to you. We've looked at Nitish Kumar, we looked at Rahul Gandhi, we looked at Tejasvi Yadav, Prashant Kishor. How does one bracket Prashant Kishor? Because on my all social media timelines, the one Bihar politician who's made the strongest presence repeatedly is Prashant Kishor. Now, Mr. Kishor is a master of social media. He knows how to communicate. He knows how to find his way. His wife has now also hit the campaign trail. What is the buzz around Prashant Kishor on the ground, Amitabh?
I think if you compare North Bihar versus South Bihar, so if you divide Bihar into two parts, his craze I found more in South Bihar from where he belongs, than North Bihar somehow. Because it is said that North Bihar, a lot of polarization works. Because Simanchal is in North Bihar, and that impact is carried forward on in other regions like Kosi, Darbhanga, and Tirhut as you move from right to left. So in South Bihar, the caste plays a bigger role. And here is where Prashant Kishore comes from. The Bhojpur area lies in South Bihar. Secondly, on most seats, you can say in South Bihar, he's there from 8% to 10% type. And in North Bihar, he would be there from, let's say, 6% to 8%. So the party, let's say, through this fancy social media campaign, has a vote share of 6% to 10%, depending upon which zone it is. Now he's looking for strong candidates who can add 10, 15, 20% vote share. Because in a triangular contest to win, also you need 30%, correct? You have Basapa in UP who just won one seat with 12% vote share, correct? So to win, you need 30, 35%. So that is the gap which he is looking to bridge through key rebels from BJP, RJD, JDU, Congress, or some candidates who had contested on LJP ticket last time. Since LJP will be contesting on fewer seats and even RLSP, there are some strong candidates there also in the market. That's why earlier he had said that we will announce candidates 3 months in advance, but he has also not announced candidates. So now his fortune is largely dependent upon how many strong local caste community leaders he can give ticket to, or who are willing to contest on his seat. That could just notch up his vote share and give him a few seats. He is damaging the youth vote of, let's say, Tejasvi, because youth is largely seen as showing high anti-incumbency because of unemployment. But their vote is getting split with Tejasvi. And now with this corruption allegations, etc., it also seems that he is damaging the middle class educated voter of the BJP as well. So impact will be different in different seats depending upon the candidates.
Okay. All right, Amitabh, we'll come back to you now in the next round when hopefully you have some more questions as we get deeper into the election cycle and once the candidates have been announced. Thanks very much, Amitabh, for your time.
Thank you so much, sir. Always.